Welcome to the Friends in Business podcast with your hosts, Ben Wright and Jemimah Ashleigh. Ben, known as the sales strategist, and Jemimah, our resident visibility expert, are here to share their wealth of knowledge and experience with a little fun along the way. Whether you're a leader, entrepreneur, or aspiring business owner, this is the podcast where we share everything we know about business to help you succeed. Let's get started. Welcome to the Friends in Business podcast.
Hey, Jemimah.
Ben.
Welcome back.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Very, very happy. I'm mostly a happy person, and today is no exception.
You are a very happy person. It's actually a pleasure to record podcasts with you.
Oh, thanks.
Until the weather just decides to snap. As most people know, if you're watching this on a video, we usually do this outside. And one of my favourite things about Noosa is the weather. Today, that hasn't really happened as well as we would have liked.
Was it the weather?
It's also the neighbours who were having the time of their life.
Yeah. So we have a building site next door.
We do.
And we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago when we did another podcast. I actually think we're going to be indoors for the next couple of months.
I think we might have to be, yeah.
It's a pretty active building site. So, but you know what? Fireplace ain't so bad.
I mean, if we have to, if we have to be, we're still in Noosa. This is still a huge win.
I agree.
We had to navigate this a little bit this morning. We were like, this is a little bit loud. It was a bit difficult. We started recording a couple of times. And we found it was really difficult. And one of the things I think in business, Ben, and I don't know if you agree with this, but sometimes you have the best of intentions. You know exactly what you're going to do, and then it goes wrong. And no matter what we tried to do to course correct, we were like, oh, we'll just take a break. And then they brought out the power drills, and then the wind picked up, and it was just, we had to kind of pivot. And one of the things you have to do sometimes is you have to do a bit of change, which is what we're talking about today.
Yeah, change management. Change management is reasonably close to my heart. And look, I might start here with the bad. So the numbers are against change management working within any business. And the numbers go along the lines of, depending on the studies you look at, about 2/3 or 70% of change management initiatives don't succeed. So for every
big numbers.
Yeah, for every 10 times you try and do something, 7 of them don't work. And look, I specifically remember a conversation I had with someone who went through one of our programs this year, and they had heaps of experience in change management.
Yeah.
And their feedback to me was, Ben, why aren't you using one of the commonly known, proven approaches to change management? There's lots and lots of literature out there around it. And I had to pause for a moment because it was somewhat controversial, my answer, but I really do pride myself on being upfront and truthful with everyone. And my response was that because unfortunately when 7 out of 10 change management initiatives don't work, I don't think the literature has covered it off well enough.
Maybe,
I think there are gaps.
Yeah, maybe the blueprint isn't what you think it is.
Yeah,
maybe this is if it was like you're going to crash the car 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah. So had silence at the other end of the call, followed up with, and this is a smart, educated person I was talking to, they're no deal. Followed up with right, I kind of get it.
Checks out.
But what I followed up with to say is what I actually do is I take an approach from a number of change management initiatives that I've worked on and build out some really simple approaches. And if I have to really, really dumb it down to a super, super easy and compact level, it's all around keeping it simple, building rituals, right, and finding some quick wins. But we're not going to actually talk at that level of simplicity today. I'm going to step through 5 ways that I run through change management in my programs that I know works. And the reason I can say that I know works is because I've had results of one team, they grew by just over 80%.
Wow.
In 6 weeks.
When everyone else is closing. Just 7 out of 10 are closing.
Well, this was when 7 out of 10 don't work. But in this instance, they grew by just over 80% in 6 weeks, and they were a 7-figure a month business.
It's a pretty incredible business.
So they weren't a $1 billion a year business, but they were tens of millions of dollars in terms of their turnover. So they almost doubled in 6 weeks. from a change management approach. And obviously I've had a number of other examples that work, but I think this was a really good one because they had that turnaround in such a short period of time and actually held that for the next 5 months. It was a 6-month program.
Yep.
So 5 things today around change management. What I'd like to start with is number 1, which is the obvious one, and that is all about getting really clear on what your goals are of the program. So this isn't just sitting down and saying, I would like to make sure that I would like to implement price increases into my business, or I would like to move into, let's talk about Australia, I would like to move in from only servicing the eastern seaboard, I would like to pick up the western seaboard.
Yes.
Right? That is too broad. These are goals of the change management program that will say, if I'm looking to pick up the Western Australian seaboard, I've got 3 things that I need to do. Yes. I need to build, first of all, to pick up the Western Australian, the west of Australian seaboard, I need to get a regulatory understanding of the market I'm playing in, for example. The second key part of that goal is we need to have stage 2, which is to get check out our minimum viable product is ready to go on the market. And the third stage of that is to have a go-to-market plan.
Yes.
Right. And we will generally in change management aim for 3 key goals. So at a broader strategic level, the higher you get in terms of the bigger your change management activity is, the easier it is to set broad goals. Then you spend lots of time below that. The smaller your change management initiative is, then these key goals end up moving into almost being action plans.
Yeah.
Right. So number 1 is all about setting your key goals. But most importantly here is we need to be ready to involve the team. The team that's implementing the change management needs to be all across what the key goals are. Because if they're not and they don't see what the end journey or the destination looks like, then it's really hard to get them to navigate that journey.
Yeah.
Because we're asking them to do something different.
Yeah, totally new, right? As soon as it's really great to say, we're going to Perth. We're putting the business there. That's what we're going to do. And people go, well, okay, let me know how that goes. We now need to buy in.
Yeah, great. So number 1, get your goals right.
Yes.
Number 2 is map out what success looks like.
Yes.
So we talk a lot in any type of strategic planning around building action plans. And action plans are generally straightforward. What the activity is, what the next steps are, who's responsible, and the due date. That is imperative in change management, that we go from a macro, here's our 3 goals or our 5 goals or our 4 goals, whatever they may be, into what our action plan is. Okay, very, very important, because without an action plan, we don't have lots of little pots of gold to pick up along the journey as we go. But even more important is that with each of those action plans, that we're clear on what success looks like. So if the example here is to move into the western seaboard of Australia, and we know that one of our action plans is going to be to determine what Western Australian customers prefer, any idiosyncrasies with the western seaboard of Australia around what they prefer. What success looks like, and let's say that task is assigned to Jemimah and it's due by the end of next quarter.
Great.
What success looks like here is when we can decide that we've ticked off and we've achieved that action plan. And for something like understanding the idiosyncrasies of the Western Australian market, it would be something like, we are clear on the changes we need to make to our product or service to succeed in the Western seaboard.
Yeah, love that.
Right, so it's not just coming back and going, yeah, okay, we've got some understanding here. It's actually taking that to a practical outcome that says, right, we know what we need to do. Another example here, because this can get difficult, what success looks like. If the example is that we need to have launched in the Western Australian market by X date, what success looks like would be X number of sales by this period of time. Yeah. Or it could be 14 proposals or 50 proposals out in the Western seaboard by this date, right? It gives us something that's more of a smart objective to measure against, so that we are not just saying we've launched. Great, we've launched in Western Australia. There's a whole big marketing campaign out there. We didn't get a single sale. That's not really a launch.
Yeah, that's a failed launch. That's a.
It's being present is what it is.
Yeah.
Right, but it's not actually succeeding. So
the metrics part is really important here. This is, Jemimah, we need you to launch by next quarter. Yeah. What are the action items? And I mean, and the one thing that I will say, and this is something I regularly see, is I see leaders go, we're going to do this, we're going to launch, we're going to go and go do this. or we're going to release this product, or, we're going to the US. What does this look like? One thing I see is there's just no plan that follows, and there's no, this is the next steps, and the team being involved here, 10 out of 10 needs to happen.
Yeah. So you've ticked off the key items there, get the team involved and build out your action plans. Okay, so here's the third one. Here's where we start to roll in a bit of theory. This is all about appointing champions of change and have some fun with this. I've had the best one I've heard was we had a business based out of Queensland, and they called their project champions the 3 llamas. If that business is ever listening, I'm not going to name them. They know who they are, and I loved it. And a llama was a symbol of celebration in their business. So we had a bit of fun with the 3 llamas. And I've had some other really good ones along the journey. 3 amigos was one. The Renewable Rangers, it was a project around some renewables activities. It's had some really cool ones. So what we do here, and again, if those 2 businesses are listening, they'll know who they are. And great job, guys.
The llamas could write into the show. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So from here, what we do is those project champions, I actually generally break them down into 3 areas. We have a storyteller, we have a motivator, and we have a thinker. Right, so 3 areas. So now this is the part of change management where I've created a program that I know works. Excuse me. So the thinkers, their job is all about keeping change management on track from a very practical level. We take those action items, we throw them into a project management software.
How are we going with this? Are we following what needs to be done? Jemimah, by the end of next quarter, we need this done. How are you tracking with that?
That's right. And you set up some systems and processes around that, which I won't go into detail today. So thinkers very much your nuts and bolts, detail-oriented person. Your motivator, they're all about making sure that we keep everyone motivated and we keep them positive and some momentum in the project. And generally, we'll pick some types of celebrations in here. And we've certainly, there's a few episodes back, we ran a piece around the 3 types of celebrations, internal team, external to the business, and into the team. Right. But on top of that, there's some really cool specific celebrations that I run with teams, some based around nostalgia, some based around competition, some based around bonding together as a team. Right. But the motivator's job is to keep everyone up and about and happy and focused. Then we get to the storyteller.
Your favourite.
My favourite, right? So the thinker, their job is to make sure we've got the minds. The motivator is to make sure that people are encouraged and enthused and their mind and their hearts are working. The storyteller's job is actually to win the hearts, right? So storytellers are all about finding progress to acknowledge or wins to celebrate and telling stories.
Yeah.
So their job is to make sure that where a motivator is all about celebrations, a storyteller is all about spreading the word. You've seen those ads, tell marketing to spread the word, right? This is all about...
Why are we doing this? What is the purpose of this? How are you involved in getting people to tell the story of the business? Yeah.
So that could be a story on its own, right? Or we could have stories around... I remember a great story from a team in the medical industry, and if they're listening, this person will know who they are.
Again, into the show, let us know.
Yeah, right into the show, let us know. But they were dealing with a hospital where they were struggling to get all the stakeholders together. They managed to get all the stakeholders into the room. They got really clear on their goals around what success looked like for that business, right? And they were able to move forward to a clinical trial of their product.
Incredible.
For those who know the medical industry, this will be clear, but for those who don't, to get a product into a hospital requires multi-stakeholder engagement, right? Because you have surgeons, you have nurses, you have procurement, you have financial, but then you're above or below all of that is you have patient safety.
Yes.
Right, and that can override anything at any point in time, patient and clinician safety. So there's a fair bit of work that goes into these medical products. And what they did was they told a great story out of it that the motivator was able to use as encouragement and the thinker was able to use to go, hey, we're making progress. Storytellers' jobs are hard, and there's some AI prompts that we can use to help that. But appointing those project champions is the third step of successfully rolling out change management, and equally as important as step 1 being setting your goals and step 2 being really clear on where your journey needs to take you.
Love that.
So that's 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, great. All right, tell me those again.
Number 1, get your goals right.
Yes.
Or be clear on your goals. Number 2 is build out your action plans and what success looks like with the team.
Yes.
If they build it, they will implement it. Number 3 is appoint your project champions or your llamas, if you want to call them that.
We need a llama, I think.
We should put one up behind us. Okay. Number 4 is all about setting your review periods.
Yes. Oh, goodness, yes.
So we call this review, refine, or I call this review, refine, and roll out or re-roll out. So we set regular periods where as a team, we're going to review what's happening. We're going to refine what's working and what's not working.
Yes.
And then we're going to re-roll that out. Because what that does is it allows us to tweak our change management on the fly. Very similar to having metrics to measure yourselves by. But I absolutely recommend in the first 3 months of change management, it's every second week. You're getting together for a quick 45 minutes on this. After 3 months, you're sitting down and you're putting a couple of hours or a half day into it, and you're doing that at the 6 months and the 9 months. It doesn't take much time.
Yeah, I will say with the review periods for anything in the business, they fundamentally shifted and added zeros for our business for the simple reason of what's working, what's not. Yeah. And just where are we on this journey? Because it really is to go, hey, Jemimah, can you make sure we've rolled out that? Yeah. That's why we have accountability sessions. That's why we have check-ins. It's why we're checking in with our teams to go, listen, I just want to check in. How's that going? And that's also where you can start to tell what's working and really what's not, and also who's working in this role and who's not.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. So that's number 4 done. Number 5, last one for today.
Is it about llamas again? Is it more farmyard related stuff?
Oh, gee, could I make it look like that? So we plant an avocado tree. Do you know how long an avocado tree, this is your farming analogy you want, so I'm giving you one. Do you know how long?
I really want it farmyard animal based, but that's on me. Okay, go. Avocados take a very long time to grow.
You know on average how long before you get avocados?
3 years, 4 years?
7.
Ooh.
7 years.
Yeah.
Tomato plants. Do you know how long it takes to get tomato plants up and running?
About a year.
Nah, it's a few weeks.
Yeah.
Right, a few weeks. So Jemimah's clearly not a farmer.
No, I was just talking to your wife about your plants and I was trying to make her feel better.
And we're learning about those from personal experience. So tomatoes are a few weeks. Yes. So a tomato is a quick win plant.
Yes, they are.
An avocado is a long-term strategy.
Then you can ask the question, is number 5 quick wins?
Yes, it is, Jemimah. So you asked for an example, gave you one off the cuff. So
you've done really well.
And I can genuinely say that is, as all of our podcasts are, these are not pre-written. These are podcasts where we talk with each other because we think we get the most out of it. So we want to find quick wins. The reason we want to find quick wins is because it builds momentum. And whenever we're learning to do something, like we think about your children learning to ride a bike, right? Or your children learning how to swim, or your children learning how to walk. Once they get those first little pieces of momentum, they get encouraged and they want to do it more and more and more.
Yes.
So if we can, as a team, find quick wins, a couple of things happen. First of all is we get the encouragement.
Yes.
But the second piece is we start to see the strategy work, which means everything builds from there. So the earlier we start self-improvement, the sooner we get to where we want to be. The earlier we find wins in change management, the sooner we get to where we want to be. And I would say this is the number one reason where change management initiatives fail.
Yes.
And that is because we go and do our beautiful plan, we sit out, it's perfect, it's ready to go, and then tomorrow gets in the way of today. And what I mean by that is that we don't allow ourselves the time to implement these plans, which results in a significant delay before we get to them. So my encouragement is to every team out there is to get some wins really quickly.
Yeah. And keep that momentum going. Right?
And then we build that momentum.
Yeah, great. All right, hit me with those 5 again.
Okay, number 1 is get your goals right.
Yes.
Number 2 is with your team.
Yes.
Build out your action plan and what success looks like. Number 3, project champions.
Yeah.
Storyteller.
Llamas. Motivator. Get a llama.
Storyteller, motivator, and thinker. Every time I went to say each one of those words, I almost said llama. So number 3, that's done. I'm going to go back again because people might have missed these. Set your goals, action plans, and key what success looks like. Your project champions. Number 4 is all about setting your review, refine, and re-roll out periods. And number 5 is quick wins.
Yes.
All right, you're number 1 from today.
Get a llama really is. No, I will say, just really want a llama now. I will say the quick wins is really, really important. Where I've seen anything really succeed is getting those wins really quickly and getting the momentum and getting the buzz and the excitement. If you get your team on board and you have those wins early on and they're seeing progress, those days where it feels like you need to have more grit than others, are just a lot easier. Well, we managed to get through that. We can do this.
Great.
That's my silver bullet.
So for me, my number one is I'd pair that quick wins with having your team involved and engaged in that change management program. You get them involved in it, they're more likely to build it, and that's where momentum comes. Excellent. That has been a very friendly episode from Friends in Business.
It has.
I've enjoyed it. It's really chunky. That podcast, I will say, that's a full day program I run out with the teams I work with. Right, so please give yourself some time to implement it. It's not click of the fingers and you're done. But as always, as we are your friends in business, get in touch if you need anything. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Hopefully outside again. We'll see.
I've been tried and I've been tested.
Thank you for listening to the Friends in Business podcast. This episode was brought to you by your hosts, Ben Wright and Jemimah Ashleigh, recorded in beautiful Noosa, Queensland. For more insights and resources, visit Ben at strongersalesteams.com and Jemimah at jemimahashleigh.com. If today's podcast has helped you, we'd be so grateful if you could leave a review and share with someone you know. This will help more people in the world benefit from the hard work we're putting in to bring you the best content we possibly can.